Boom, bang, boom, boom, bing, 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 boom, bang, boom, 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 bang, boom, boom, bing, 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 boom, bang, boom, 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 bang, boom, boom, bing, 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 boom, bang, boom, 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 bang, boom, boom, bing, 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 boom, bang, boom, boom. Click. Is that it? Click. Is that it? Click. This pump. Is that it? Kevin. Pump. This pump. Click. This pump. Is that it? Kevin. Pump. This pump. Click. This pump. Is that it? Kevin. Pump. This pump. Click. This pump. Is that it? Kevin. Pump. This pump. Click. This pump. Is that it? Kevin. Pump. This pump. Evil. This pump. Is that it? Kevin. Pump. This pump. Click. This pump. Is that it? Kevin. Pump. This pump. Click. This pump. Is that it? Kevin. Pump. Click. This pump. Is that it? Kevin. Pump. Click. This pump. Is that it? Kevin. Pump.
All right, everybody. That was it. That was the Rob Toohey theme, courtesy of Leroon. That is who made that song. And it is showtime and go time. So welcome, everybody, to Sunday Night All Things Fantasy Grounds. I am here with my co-host, Leroon, and our special guest for this evening is Rogue. We will introduce you to her in just a minute. How you doing, Leroon?
Doing pretty good. Just winding down after FGCon and getting excited and ready for the show.
Cool. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that everybody can see what I see. And before we introduce Rogue, I will just do the disclaimer, which we always do at the beginning of the show. That is obviously the wrong screen. Here we go. I think this is – wait, what happened? What's going on? It's totally blank. There we go. Okay, so just want to let everybody know that the All Things Fantasy Grounds talk show is meant to teach and help, but the opinions stated by the three of us on the show are not those of Smiteworks USA LLC or Fantasy Grounds. And welcome, Rogue. How are you?
Hey, guys. I'm doing great.
Awesome. Thanks for being on the show. Before we get into the account management, would you like to tell people who you are, what your involvement is with not only FGC, but Fantasy Grounds itself, and, you know, what you're all about?
Sure. My name is Rogue. I hang out on Fantasy Grounds College. I joined Fantasy Grounds in 2014, and as soon as I learned how to use it to a point where I was confident, I started teaching other people. I play a lot of Pathfinder, and then I found Leroon in his college, and I started teaching people how to use Fantasy Grounds over there. And now I am teaching basically Pathfinder on FGC. in
That's
the
awesome.
college. I started playing D&D in 1985. I started DMing AD&D Second Edition in 1987, and I have been following every rendition of D&D up to Pathfinder, and I am just now starting to get into Fifth.
Cool. Very good. Well, so yeah, you're old school like we are. I started in '81, and Leroon, what year did you start D&D?
Same year, 81.
Same year. Okay, cool. All right, so thanks for joining us for the show, everybody. We are going to talk about synchronizing your accounts with Paizo and Steam, and also a little bit about how to do third-party stuff if you don't know how to do it. Most people who are watching the show probably would know, but we are going to cover that so that everybody knows. And so what we'll do is we'll jump right in with settings. So I'm going to bring up the Fantasy Grounds desktop here. Now I'm going to click this button settings, but when I do that, it's going to show my key. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch the screen back to the countdown, just the countdown, so that when I do this, I don't need my key on the internet. So I'm going to go up here and just erase that. Then I'll switch the screen back. Okay, so now let me put it back. Okay, so everybody should see here, when you click that settings button, this is what you end up with. And the first thing we were going to do, Leroon, on this was what?
First, we just tell them that the license key, if you get one, goes into that top box.
Right, it would be up here where I'm typing gobbledygook. My license key was
Right.
there, but I erased it, yeah.
And we don't need to put the light to full key anymore. That's really not a thing anymore.
Right. So if you
And
get your license key, this is where it goes. If you're not doing it on Steam. If you're doing it on Steam, we'll show you where that goes.
you want to make sure that you have your, you can adjust your scaling if you want. At this point, we're not going to get too deep into that, but that's how you do that ahead of time.
Yeah, you can do that within Fantasy Grounds, but if you want to do it before you go in, this is where you can change that, and it can be any number from 50 to 200. Usually what people on my stream will see me do is if I'm playing, I'll have it at 100, and if I'm DMing, I'll have it at 80. But people can do, what they want to do for their personal preference.
Okay, and now we would need to hit the Manage button.
Okay, so when you hit the Manage button, it tells you here, Steam users create an FG web account and link your Steam account to access purchases. So creating an account, most people would already have one, but if you don't, you could do it. But let's click on link Steam purchases and see what happens.
Okay.
So it brings me out to the web, and it goes to the fantasygrounds.com website, but it specifically goes to a Steam account synchronization. And I do not have Steam, so it won't really show me anything here. But we'd like to show you guys what you can do as far as activating a key on Steam. So I have the Steam application open here. And if you have Steam open, you can go right here to your account details. And to activate a key on the Steam app itself, where was that already? I forgot now. Oh, no, that's not where you go. You go to games, you go to activate a product. That's what you do. So here, so you go to games on the upper left, activate a product, and it's going to bring you to this. And then you just type your, paste your key in there, and it will, and then you'll hit next and do it. Now I don't have one obviously because I don't use Steam for this. But if you do that, that's the way to activate your key there. And then you can also do that on the internet, on the web itself. And how you would do that is you'd go to the Steam website, which is store.steampowered.com. Now, let me just back up here. Let me back up a sec. When you go to Steam and you go to your account, which you're going to click, here's Rob2, I'm going to click on my account details. That's going to take you to this URL, store.steampowered.com.account. Now, there is no link on the website to put in a register key. For whatever reason, they either took that off or they don't want you to have access to it because they'd rather you do it through the app. But there is a way to do it on the internet if you want to do it on the internet, and that is just to type in register key after that URL. So the URL that would already be there is store.steampower.com/account, and then you would just put register key after that, and you see when I hit that, it will actually do the same thing that it does on the app and let you put a key in there. So that's the way you can do that if you are wanting to activate not only Fantasy Grounds products, but any product on Steam that you have a key for. So there you go.
All right. So once they activate the key, they get a serial key for Fantasy Grounds, and then they plug it into the software that we showed them on the last.
Right. They will activate it, and then they will get a key that you can plug in here, whatever it is.
Okay.
And then once you do that, it'll take you and it'll grant you the license, whether it's standard or ultimate.
Okay.
And for me, I'll just close that back out because we don't need that anymore. So yeah, it takes you back there. So and I have the ultimate license, obviously. So my key would show up if I hit this button right now, it would show me the license. So that's pretty straightforward. Did anybody have any questions about that? If you guys have questions during the show, just type them into the chat on Twitch, and we'll make sure that we get to it. But that is a pretty straightforward process. Something that's a little more difficult, we're going to show you now. We're going to have Rogues help with this. Is syncing your account through for Paizo, because if you buy any Paizo material, if you buy any PDFs from Paizo, or you buy Fantasy Grounds modules that are Paizo modules, you can cross-link those and get money off. So, for example, if you bought a $7 PDF and the Fantasy Grounds module was $20, it would only cost you $13 to get the module. And if you bought the $20 module from Fantasy Grounds, you'd get the Paizo PDF for free. So anybody that doesn't know that, you can cross those, and we're going to show you that now. So I think, Leroon, I go to here, yes?
Yep.
Okay, so I go, and then I'm going to show you, for me, if you go to the Fantasy Grounds store, just on the fantasygrounds.com website, click on store, drop down to Paizo account synchronization, it's going to bring you to this page, and you can click send purchase info to Paizo. Now, when I do it, it's not going to do anything because I don't have anything. I'm not a Pathfinder guy, and I don't have any Paizo stuff. Same thing here, retrieve Paizo purchases. If I did that, it says no Fantasy Grounds products purchased from Paizo because I don't have any. But now we're going to let you see what Rogue does. So I'm going to go over to Rogue's screen here. And here's Rogue. Now, go ahead, Rogue. You're on that same page. So when you click on retrieve Paizo purchases, for example, she clicks on that, and it's going to show, like, she's got, what do you have, everything?
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, she's got everything.
Wow.
And then,
okay.
So this will basically show what she has, and then if she clicks send purchases to Paizo, same thing in reverse. It'll tell you all these things that she's bought on Fantasy Grounds is now over at Paizo. So whether she goes to get a PDF now that she has a Fantasy Grounds module for, or vice versa, if she tries to buy something that she already has credit for, it will discount her. And she's in the process of buying something right now. So you'll see.
Mm-hmm.
What are you buying? The Advanced Player's Guide, and you're buying the Fantasy Grounds version of it, but you already have the PDF, right?
Right.
So it's giving her a $10 discount. So that's awesome.
Yep.
And it would, if she had first bought the Pathfinder RPG Advanced Player's Guide at Fantasy Grounds and then gone over to Paizo and tried to get the PDF, it would have shown her, hey, that's free. You can just take it.
Right.
So it's pretty awesome.
So what's the other screen you have there? Your Paizo? Okay.
This is all, this is the stuff that I have from Paizo so far.
Okay.
Yeah, and if I have a Paizo account, but if you go to this screen on my account, it is just blank. I have nothing from Paizo.
So she has a ton of stuff that
She's
she's
got
purchased
everything
over the years.
Yeah, since 2012 maybe. That's awesome. 2010.
Wow.
2010 I think was the earliest I saw in there.
So
That's
now
amazing.
So anything she purchased from the Fantasy Grounds store, if she didn't already own it, will show up here.
Yeah, once she syncs those accounts like we showed, then Fantasy Grounds software and Paizo website, they know what each other has. So if you go to try to buy something and you're due a discount, it will definitely give that to you.
So I know on the show, the All Things Fantasy Grounds, Digital Dave talks about this all the time. And this
Yeah,
is
he
what he's
talks about
talking
it.
about.
Yep, that's what he's talking about. They've never, they don't think they've done a video or showed it like we are, which is why we're doing
Mhm.
that. But this is what, and it's sort of not that intuitive. So I'm glad that we decided to show people how to do it. I, of course, personally didn't really care about it because I don't buy any Pathfinder stuff, but I know that there's a lot of Fantasy Grounds users who do. And same thing for Starfinder because that's also Paizo. So anything that Paizo makes that is also on Fantasy Grounds, you guys can cross-link these and get discounts for it. And
That's right.
most Fantasy Grounds users, I think, would be people who would be, not all, but most of them would be someone who's buying the module on Fantasy Grounds anyway, and then you might as well go get the free PDF because why not, right?
Yeah. So Rogue, you have the Starfinder book? Is that what I saw?
Yep.
Okay. So let's go to Fantasy Grounds bookstore and let's pretend you're going to buy the Fantasy Grounds version. We're not going to buy it. We're just going to add it to your cart. So
Okay.
maybe Starfinder. Do a search for Starfinder, maybe. Or yeah, do that. There you go.
I think you have to. There it is. Yep.
So click buy.
Up there.
Oh yeah.
Look at that shit.
So she gets an extra $9 off the price of the.
Yeah, because she still had it in her cart, the other one. So yeah, so she could, if she's not gonna buy that, she could delete it. But yeah, so she got the $9.99 discount for Starfinder, and she got the $10 discount for the Advanced Player's Guide. So yeah, so you guys can see how it just automatically knows what your discounts are as long as you cross link those. So thanks for walking us through that. If anybody has any questions about that, it is kind of a little involved, but it's pretty straightforward once you understand what you're doing. And again, you can always go to the Fantasy Grounds store and come down and do any Steam account synchronization or Paizo account synchronization. And once you click on those, you will be able to do it. So it should be pretty cool. And as long as you're signed into your Paizo account or your Steam account, then you can figure it out. And if not, just this video will be on YouTube after the show, and just go back and watch it and see how we did it.
Nice.
Good times. Ooh, you know what we should do? We should give away a prize. Let's give away a prize. This is not going to be the longest show ever because we're almost done with our subject matter. And I figured there'd be a lot of questions, but nobody's really asked any questions, so I'm assuming everybody gets it. But we are going to give away a prize, and what I'm going to give away is I'm going to do a keyword raffle for a DM's Guild prize. This will be any creation with my name on it, and today's generous offer will be anything at all, including the packages or whatever you want. So any one item on the DM's Guild that has my name on it, we will do it. So let me start the timer, and I'll type in the DM's Guild. Well, no, I mean I guess I don't need to do that now. Whoever wins, I will tell you how you can get a hold of me to get that prize. But if you would like to enter,
Ooh.
Hey, Braze Holler, thanks for the follow. I hope I said your name right. Thanks for the follow. Welcome to the stream.
Braze Holler.
If you want to enter the contest, just type !win in the chat. And we've got a few people going in. Oh, Stormhound, Fury Fate, Nebbiolo. Some of my VIPs are here tonight. And what's up?
Oh, yeah. Hey, Fury.
So that is what we will show people now, is if you do get something from the DM's Guild,
Let's
whether
take a look at your page.
or any other place where you might get a Fantasy Grounds module other than the DM's Guild. You're going to go and download it. So let's say I'll just pick one randomly, like the Defier class. Click on that, and then wait a year for. Oh, there we go. So you see that in this case, there's a PDF and a mod file. So if you got the mod file, you would download it, and then you would just go find your Fantasy Grounds module files. Now, if you're on Windows, and I can't help you on Mac because I don't have a Mac, but I'm sure it would be similar. But if you're on Windows, basically what you're going to find is you're going to be in your users, and then whatever your username is, app data roaming Fantasy Grounds module. That's going to be where you drop all these files, and you can see there's a bunch of mod. They're all in here. Oh, Monsters of the Guild, highly top secret, not done yet, not finished. Anyway, you would drop that in here, and I just changed the name. It's supposed to be Defier. And then you would just save it there, which I'm not going to do because I think I already have it in there. So you would save it in that modules file, and then what that does is puts it in your library. So when you go into Fantasy Grounds, and again, most people who use Fantasy Grounds already know this. This is more for new people at this point. But you just open Fantasy Grounds, and then in your library you'll have two types of things. One thing that you'll have in your library are the items you've purchased from the Fantasy Grounds store itself, and those are encrypted and coded, and those are not in the module file. Not in the file folder that I just talked about, but all the other stuff that's in that file folder will appear here. So I should be able to find Defier. There's a Defier class right there. I open it up. Now I've got the Defier class, and there it is. And so there you go. Oh, there's the Defier. What's up? Hey. And then this is a class you can drag onto your character sheet and make a Defier. What's up? There you go. So
cool.
That is how you put in a purchased third-party mod file that you would buy. And there are other places besides the DM Guild to find those, but the bulk of what you're going to find is from the DM's Guild, because the DM's Guild is the only sales avenue that is approved by Fantasy Grounds to sell through without having an agreement with Smiteworks. So in other words, anybody, like I make all my stuff and I put it on the DM's Guild, I don't have to have an agreement with Smiteworks because it's built into DM's Guild. That is not true, however, of Drive-Thru-RPG or any other place or anybody's personal website or anything else. So if you make a Fantasy Grounds module that you want to sell to people, and it's not on the DM's Guild or in the Smiteworks store directly, which you'd have to have an agreement with Smiteworks for anyway, you have to actually contact Smiteworks and get a sales agreement for that because they want their cut. You can't just be making stuff and selling it. So, and I believe everybody always wonders about the DM's Guild, and I think I found this information out more recently. The DM's Guild, anything you buy there, of course, the author gets 50%, and DM's Guild gets 50%. Or sorry, One Bookshelf gets 50%. But that's on Drive-Thru-RPG, right? It's 50-50. Now on DM's Guild, the author still gets 50%. Sorry, I made a mistake. On Drive-Thru and all the other properties, it's actually the author gets like 70%. And the One Bookshelf, who is the owners of RPG Now and Drive-Thru-RPG and all these other things that are down here, Drive-Thru Fiction, Drive-Thru Comics, all those are owned by One Bookshelf. So if you publish something on Drive-Thru-RPG, that's a fantasy thing, the author gets 70%, and the One Bookshelf gets 30%. Now the difference on DM's Guild is the author only gets 50%, and the reason for that is because out of the remaining 50%, One Bookshelf and DM's Guild has to be paid, and then further, if it's a Fantasy Grounds module, they get a cut as well. So I'm just going to real quick go and show people what that means. I'm going to pretend I'm going to enter, nope, that's wrong. I'm going to pretend I'm entering a new title. I'm not actually going to do it. But if I go here, the very first thing it says is, hey, is this a DM's Guild thing, or is this a Fantasy Grounds content via the DM's Guild? So if you check this, Smiteworks doesn't get anything. If you check this, they do get something. So anything that's Fantasy Grounds, they actually get paid for. They get a, so all those coding packages and all that stuff I've ever sold and all that stuff that I've ever listed on here and sold, like, you know, thousands of dollars, whatever it's up to now. I think I crossed the $20,000, $13,000 in the account, but I did cross 20,000 recently. So out of all that money, I've only got half, but WotC and One Bookshelf and Smiteworks have all been paid for those. So that's how that works. It's kind of a complicated deal, but many people don't know the behind the scenes of how that all works. That's what's up with that. So, whoops, hold on. Let me get back to where was I? Here we go. Boom. So that's covers that. Did anybody type any questions in there?
Fury kind of.
I worry when there's no questions because I'm like, everybody could not have got that all
right. Fury asked about signed copies from Chris Lindsay. So Chris Lindsay.
Oh, signed copies of what? Monsters on the Guild?
Yeah. So since I live up in Seattle, I want to try to make that happen.
I'm sure if you brought in hardback copies of that he would sign them. I'm almost
I'm
sure
going to do that. I'm going to knock on their door, literally, with 3 copies, and say, "We'll get Chris to please sign these, whatever."
Yeah, if you walk in there and open it up to the page where here, I'll show everybody that page since we're going to show everybody what we're talking about here. Let me go get it. Monsters of the Guild, PDF. Oh my God, there's all the files, everybody. Don't calm down. It's top secret. If you walk in and and have the book open to this page and say, "Can I get this gentleman to sign this?" I'm sure they would do it because probably the people, you know, since it's not a WotC product, it's a DM's Guild product, probably people wouldn't know that it was even happening. But if you walked in there and showed those books, I'm sure they would do it. And by the way, for those that are interested, Monsters of the Guild's coming out, I think, in about 10 days to 2 weeks-ish. And it'll be available in hardback, in PDF, and, of course, Fantasy Grounds module.
Nice. What's the prize?
Oh, anybody? The prize. Oh, let's see. Okay, we got some. Here we go. Let's draw a winner. The winner is Nebbiolo777. Congratulations.
All right.
So Nebbiolo, you may PM me in Discord, and for you and for anybody else who isn't in my Discord, there's the link for it right there. And just PM me, and I will get you a prize. He says, awesome. Congrats to that. And yeah, we usually give a prize away every show, so that's pretty good.
Awesome.
So let me ask Rogue, you're a big Pathfinder person. So I don't play Pathfinder at all. So what can you tell people watching today about Pathfinder and Fantasy Grounds? What is your things you would like to say about that?
Pathfinder is a game that has lots and lots of opportunities to play all kinds of things that you can imagine to play. It is very flexible. It has so many character variations that you can play. A lot of people call it crunchy. I think it's just inventive. Fantasy Grounds is the #1 tabletop to play Pathfinder 5e, anything you want to play on it. I have, like I said, I've been a member of Fantasy Grounds since 2014, and I transferred over from another tabletop that was no longer receiving JavaScript support, and I found Fantasy Grounds, and I never looked back. Once I figured out how to use it, it was so easy that I'm like, yes, this is the tabletop to be at. And Pathfinder, well, like I said, some people call it crunchy. I call it inventive. There's lots and lots of books. You can put your own twists on them. It's just a fun system. If you
Cool.
want to learn how to play it, come on over to Peninsula Grounds College, look me up, and I will definitely get you in on a class or two, and we can roll from there. Hope to see you.
Cool. So
right.
for anybody that's not played Pathfinder or played it on Fantasy Grounds, and you're interested in doing that, there are several people over at the Fantasy Grounds College who can help you, but Rogue is probably the master. So you can look her up, and if you have questions or if you want to take a class on that, they of course FGC offers classes not only on Pathfinder but everything Savage Worlds and all the RPG systems that Fantasy Grounds has, and so that's awesome. And my big joke that I tell everybody, it's not a joke really, it's just kind of funny, it's ironic, is that I've converted about a dozen modules for Pathfinder for the Smiteworks store, and I've never even played the game. So, so yeah, that's pretty funny. But and then they're coming out with second edition soon, so that's going to be probably play testing latter half of this year, and then come out with it next year or something. Any other questions in the chat? Do we have anybody? Can
Not
I
so
have a
much.
pet bunny in Pathfinder? That I don't know. I'm assuming they're familiars and stuff like that.
Yeah, there are familiars and there are animal companions, and usually in my games, if you want to have a pet bunny, that's fine, but don't send them down the hallway around the corner without, you know, mm, not being too attached to that bunny.
Cool. Did we miss anything, Leroon? Did we cover
so.
everything we wanted to cover today? I think we did.
Yep.
We can talk about what's coming up on the Sunday night show. Let's
Oh,
see.
yeah.
Let me highlight this green because we did it. We have done account management with Rogue. So next Sunday is going to be module making. Schmo is going to be our guest, and we're going to talk about that, and also Adventurers League specifically module making. And then
Nice.
some future shows will be Monsters of the Guild because it'll be out by the 29th, so we'll be able to show it and look at it and stuff like that. GeoQuester is going to join us for XML show on May 6th. And then we have a show that we already did with Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus lives in friggin' Scotland or some damn place where it's like way too early in the morning at this time for him to do the show live. So we recorded, and many of you who are on the Fantasy Grounds forums, you know who Zacchaeus is. He's the guy that mainly does all the 5th edition WotC modules for Fantasy Grounds and a bunch of other stuff. He's a master coder. He's sort of my my go-to. Like, I started learning from him, and then before I got crazy and went nuts with coding. But so that's coming up, and then on the 20th, which is 2 days after Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes comes out on Fantasy Grounds and in game stores, the official release date is the 29th, but the game store and Fantasy Grounds release date's the 18th. So we'll take a look at that. We'll open it up and let people look in there. And then,
Might have a guest for that, by the way.
Oh, good. We might have a guest. Okay. And then the Not a Real Show. We just put this together. Basically, this should be a fun show. If for those of you that are watching that haven't played in games with me or haven't been to my Discord or don't know me that well, it might not be as exciting for you, although it should be funny and it should be fun to listen to. But that Not a Real Show is basically all the people that have been kind of hanging around my Twitch channel and my Discord and my gaming area for the last 2 years. So our guests for that day are going to be Stooner, FSH Schmo, Urash, Joe Numbers, Tall Joe, and McClancy. And Gwydion should more than likely be there. And we tried to get Zelikar, but she cannot make that show. She's going to be doing something, so she will not be there. But so there'll be at least what is that? Leroon and I plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 other people. So that should be quite the fiasco. And what we'll do is we'll get everybody in here and show all their faces or whatever they want to have, and they'll all be there'll be like 9 boxes here, and you can see everybody, and we'll just BS and talk about Fantasy Grounds and whatever else, because that's what the show's about, is all things Fantasy Grounds. Any final word? Oh, well, Rogue, I think we always ask people where they can find you, but you said that people can find you on FGC. Do you have a Twitter or website or anything else that you'd like to give out to people, or do you have any other things you'd like to say before we end the show?
No, I think FGC is where I'm always hanging out, and I have my own personal Discord channel, which, if you be nice to me, I will actually give it to you. And I actually I have 3 Pathfinder games going on right now: Curse of the Crimson Throne, Rise of the Rune Lords, and Runes of Aslan.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you guys heard it. If you want to find Rogue and talk to her, she can be located at Fantasy Grounds College in their Discord. So excellent. I think that's it. We covered the material. We gave away a prize, and I think we're done. That was a short show, but that's okay. We have short ones. We have long ones.
Got some show notes.
Show notes. That's right.
Actually, the chat is suggesting that we do a one about helping people fixing router settings and all that stuff. And I think Gwydion has just found a workaround. I think he was the one that sent me the.
Yeah. That would be. We couldn't really do a show about that because it always usually depends on what router you have, what your internet situation is. And so you really couldn't do a general show about that. But for those of you that are interested, and whoever that was that suggested that, Gwydion has actually found a workaround. He recently... I love you, man! Hey, Dead Devlin, thanks for the sub. Welcome to the stream. Not you didn't follow, you sub. So thanks for the sub, man. I appreciate it. This is within the last week, like even 7 to 10 days ago, he found this. And so he's got a VPN solution that's really easy to set up, and I think it's free for a year. I think whatever the process is, it doesn't cost anything for at least the first year. So I was over at my sister's house sitting, and my internet was crazy, and actually the problem wasn't, it ended up not being so much that I couldn't get through port forwarding. It's because the speed of her internet was bad, and that you can't stream when it's low like that. But anyway, if you guys do want to find out about port forwarding solution where you just don't even have to port forward, it just kind of works around it, you can get a hold of Gwydion, and he can also be found at FGC, and he might even be in the chat. Yeah, he's in the chat right now. So Gwydion, if you're here, can you confirm or deny? Okay, it's relatively involved, but I can post the Word document link here if you want. Oh yeah, so do that.
Yep.
Yeah, he created a Word document that kind of walks you through this. So if he'll post the link to that, you guys can all get it, and I'll try to remember, if anybody's watching this on YouTube, I can actually try to post that link there as well. And then we do have some other, if you guys do have subject matters you want us to cover on the show, we will write them down. And some other ones that we talked about are IRL face-to-face games using Fantasy Grounds, tactics, reference manuals, which we hope to get Celestian in here for, and then Patreon. So, okay, there's the link, everybody. And I'm going to copy that link.
Yeah, I just looked at that today. He wrote it out really nicely. So if you follow it to the T, you should be all right.
Okay, and I'm going to bookmark this because, yeah, temp needs.
Maybe if I can get early enough with Gwydion, I'll do a short little seminar in the college or something like that.
Yeah. It might be, I think Vic Gwydion's going to do a YouTube video. I'm sure he's going to do that, but
okay. There we go.
He hasn't done it yet. Gwydion's a very busy man. He owns 12 companies, and he has 16 different families in 8 states, and there's a lot of stuff going on with Gwydion there. So
got his own
all
show.
Of which, by the way, none of that I just said is probably true at all. You notice how I said probably. All right, good. So I'll put that in the YouTube video. I'll put that link here too, so people can have that.
Nice.
But other than that, I think we're done.
All right.
Wow, cool. So thanks, Rogue. Thanks for hanging out with us today.
Yeah, thank you.
Not a problem.
And on behalf of Rogue, our special guest, and my co-host, Leroon, I would like to bid everyone a fond farewell from the show tonight. hopefully we'll see you all back here tomorrow at 6 p.m. Pacific for Module Creation Monday, where I will be working on I'll be working on the Monsters of the Guild thing and keep on plugging away for that. And until that time, good gaming, everyone.